The billionaire's mansion was filled with everything one could imagine: luxury cars parked in long rows, marble staircases that spiraled like art, and chandeliers that shined brighter than the stars. Yet, inside that house lived a young boy, named Ethan, the only son of the billionaire. He had everything money could buy, but there was one thing: he couldn't achieve success in school. No matter how hard he tried, he failed test after test. His teachers shook their heads, tutors gave up, and his father's disappointment grew heavier each day. Ethan felt trapped in a world where he was constantly compared to the children of other wealthy families who excelled in academics. His father often reminded him that one day he would inherit the empire, but deep down Ethan doubted if he was even capable of passing his next exam. Nights were long and stressful. The boy would sit at his desk, staring at books filled with numbers and words that looked like an unbreakable code. One evening, after receiving another failing grade, Ethan sat quietly in the school courtyard. His eyes burned with tears, but he didn't let them fall. That's when Mr. Lewis, the school's janitor, walked by. He was a tall black man with gentle eyes, always carrying a mop in one hand and wisdom in the other. Unlike most people, he noticed Ethan's sadness. "Rough day, huh?" Mr. Lewis asked softly as he placed his mop against the wall. Ethan hesitated, then nodded. "I don't understand anything in class," he admitted. "No matter how hard I try, I just fail. Everyone thinks I'm dumb." Mr. Lewis smiled faintly, shaking his head. "You're not dumb, son. You just haven't found your way of learning yet." Ethan frowned, not understanding what he meant. The janitor sat beside him on the bench. "When I was your age, I struggled, too. Teachers thought I wouldn't make it. But I learned one secret that changed everything." Ethan's curiosity lit up. "What secret?" he whispered. Mr. Lewis leaned closer. "Don't just memorize words on paper. Connect them to life. Knowledge is everywhere, in the way the floor shines after cleaning, in the way a clock ticks, in the way people breathe. If you tie lessons to real life, they'll stay in your heart forever." The boy blinked, thinking about it. Mr. Lewis wasn't a teacher, yet his words felt more powerful than any lecture. "Show me," Ethan asked. From that day on, every afternoon after classes, Ethan met with Mr. Lewis. Instead of sitting in a classroom, the janitor taught him in the hallways, the playground, even in the cafeteria. For math, Mr. Lewis used the cleaning supplies. "See this mop handle?" he said one day. "It's like a line segment. If I cut it in half, that's division. If I add another handle, that's addition." Suddenly, math wasn't numbers on a page, it was objects Ethan could touch and see. For science, he explained how soap broke down grease on the floor, just like enzymes in the body. For literature, he told Ethan stories, showing him how emotions gave life to words. Slowly, the boy began to change. His grades improved, and more importantly, his confidence grew. He no longer felt stupid. He realized he had a gift he learned best when lessons were connected to real-world experiences. When exam season came, everyone expected Ethan to fail again. But this time, something different happened. He sat at his desk, the questions in front of him no longer terrifying. Each one reminded him of the lessons Mr. Lewis had taught. Division was the mop handle. Chemistry was the soap. Literature was the story of a man who refused to give up. He wrote each answer with calm determination. Weeks later, the results were announced. Ethan had passed not just barely, but with one of the highest scores in the class. His father was stunned. Teachers whispered in disbelief. And Ethan? He looked across the classroom and smiled, because he knew who had really helped him get there. That evening, his father threw a grand celebration at the mansion. Guests in tuxedos and glittering gowns filled the hall, but Ethan felt uneasy. How could he enjoy the praise when the man who guided him stood quietly in the background, unnoticed? He excused himself from the crowd and walked straight to Mr. Lewis, who was standing near the entrance, still wearing his janitor's uniform. "Everyone should know the truth," Ethan said firmly. He grabbed a microphone and silenced the hall. "You're all celebrating me, but the truth is I would still be failing if not for one person. This man, Mr. Lewis, taught me how to learn when everyone else gave up on me." The crowd gasped. Some frowned in confusion. Why would a billionaire's son thank a janitor? But Ethan's father stepped forward. Eyes glistening with emotion, he looked at Mr. Lewis and said, "You've given my son something I could never buy, belief in himself. For that I owe you everything." The hall erupted into applause, not for the billionaire or his son, but for the janitor who had been invisible for too long. From that day, Ethan continued to excel, not because he was pressured, but because he loved learning. He and Mr. Lewis remained close, their bond stronger than any bloodline of wealth. And Ethan carried the secret with him for life that true education isn't about memorizing textbooks, but about finding meaning in the world around us. The billionaire finally understood that money could buy tutors, books, and schools, but it couldn't buy the wisdom of a humble janitor who saw potential in a struggling boy. And Ethan himself became a living example that failure is not the end, it is only the beginning, if you have the right teacher to guide you. So, the story of the billionaire's son and the black janitor spread across the town, reminding everyone of a powerful truth: greatness can come from the most unexpected places, and sometimes the people society overlooks carry the greatest lessons of all.